At the age of 9, I was going to the grocery to steal juice and chocolate. And when I was 18, I got arrested for the first time. And that prison was like an university to me. I left prepared to commit even more crimes. My name is Evanis. I'm 43 years old. And my life is divided between before and after the Spirit of God. I was born in a religious home. We had faith, but the wrong faith. Because my grandparents from my father's side, the mother's side, they served the evil spirits and our lives were destroyed. There was misery, hunger. I remember when I was 5, I used to see my father fighting my mother, beating my mother with the plates, with the pots. And I had a revolt. When I was 9 years old, I went to the grocery to steal juice and chocolates. When I was 13, because of a fight at school, I started going to school with guns. And when I was 17, I started stealing. And I wanted have the life of the drug dealers. The drug dealers became an example to me because I saw them driving motorbike. I saw them wearing expensive sneakers, having a gold chain. So I started to desire that life for me. So I began robbing people. And when I was 18, I got arrested for the first time. And inside that prison, some prisoners could choose even to study inside. I didn't want that. I wanted to go deeper in crime. And that was my school. The prison was my university. I learned how to use guns. I learned how to make contacts. And after 3 years, I left the prison. And my family was expecting that I would come out a different person. But I came out of that prison ready to commit even worse crimes. I ended up being arrested again. So I was arrested, it was 7 plus the 3 first sentence, so 10 years arrested in total. And after the 7 years, I came home. I was released, came home, and I saw a difference. And there was no more beer, there was no more vodka. I couldn't see that wrong life anymore. And that caught my attention. And that's when I knew that my family knew the real faith. My mother was invited and she went to the service. And she had the opportunity to know the real God. But even though I saw the difference in my parents, I got arrested again. And I went through different prisons that time. But this time was different. I remember the words that my mother used to speak to me about God, about Jesus. And I wanted that for me. One day I prayed. I said to God, if it's true that what my mother says, then you're going to give me an opportunity. It will happen to me, for me to change my life. And even though I was a criminal, I belonged to a gang, God heard my prayer. So things started to happen to provoke that change. My girlfriend broke up with me. The gang didn't want to get along with me anymore. And I started to have difficulties inside the prison. And as I look back now, I know it was the Holy Spirit who created the situation to separate me from the wrong life. I wrote my mother a letter, asked her a Bible. Send me a Bible. And she sent it to me. When the Bible came in my hands, it was like a sword in my hand. Because in the prison where I was arrested, they didn't allow the pastors, the assistants to come and pray for them because it was a maximum security unity. So that Bible to me it was a division, caused a division in my life. There was nobody to baptize me, no pastor to baptize me. So I read Ezekiel 1:28, and God spoke to me, go out, I'll send rain. And I went out, it was raining. And to me, that was my baptism in water. I glorified God in my life. I knelt down, and when I stood up, that spirit of accusation was gone. Continued reading my Bible, and after some time, one day, I realized I had an experience with God. I received the Holy Spirit inside the prison. So such a strength came in me. And I said, now everything has to change. And that was something amazing, because I had a hatred against my ex-girlfriend. Because in my mind, I had something telling me, send someone to kill her. And after receiving the Holy Spirit, there was no hatred no more. There was a joy. Joy because I know God took the wrong people away from my life. And from there, my life started to change. I had been condemned to 16 years, 16. And in a miraculous way, I was continuing this faith. After 2 years, 11 months, even the workers there in the prison, they saw the difference in me. And one day, a gentleman came, Mr. Paul, said, your life is changing, huh? Nobody can explain how, but get your things together because you are leaving today. That was to me the proof that God was with me. It was as if the chains were broken. For me to go, God set me free for me to go and preach the gospel. It has been 10 years since I left prison. My life is transformed. I don't steal anymore. I have my own business. I don't live a life of fornication anymore. Today I'm happily married. And today I have the opportunity to evangelize the prisoners. In the beginning, it was difficult because they didn't allow me, because they didn't believe that I was changed. The pastor had to go there in the prison, confirm that I was really converted, changed, and they allowed me to enter the prison. And I thank you, those who are the sponsors of the work of God, the sponsors of the preaching, the newspapers, TV programs, the flyers, and the purposes of the church. And the strongest of all is not the house that I have, the car that I have, is not the wife that I have. The strongest of all is that I can go back in prison and tell the prisoners there what God has done in my life. I can look them in the eyes and say to them what God has done in my life, He'll do in your life as well.